Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat on the way in. Look, we are going to. This might be super quick. Um, we're living reckless. Yo, don't say anything in the comments. Anyway, okay. Let's get into it. Once again, like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat on the way in. We are going to be speaking about Dr. Jared Ball, Diallo Kenyatta, and Geechee, right? On Earn Your Liberation, which is one of my favorite things to watch. I really admire how knowledgeable and intelligent and aware these brothers are as a fellow leftist. Okay, let's get into what Mr. Z disagree with. So, they're critiquing different movies or documentaries or docuseries, and they get to one that's on Netflix. I think it's called Stamped, right? Um, and um, and I got, by the way, I have to watch this now. And so Dr. Jared Ball and Geechee get into a part of the conversation where they're saying they don't understand why a point had to be made about essentially the oppression Olympics. And I think it was Angela Davis who kind of made the comment, but essentially like, black men had it hard, or other people had it hard, but black women had it harder, and kind of like, being spoken down to and being told, oh, you're just a woman, and et cetera, et cetera. And, Dr. Jared Ball says, I don't understand why this point had to be made. And Diallo Kenyatta pretty much does the, somebody got to get the gold in the oppression Olympics. And he kind of tries to joke it off. They get into further down in the conversation where they kind of jab once again at quote unquote the patriarchy and black men, et cetera, et cetera. And let's pause right here. Now, shout out to BGS, the elder, for this. And this is why BGS says that he left this pro-black space, right? Or at least he's still in the pro-black space, but he creates his own different content over here in the black manosphere, because it's so blatant. I will timestamp so the video is in the description, where the stream is in the description. I will timestamp it for you when they start to go into this direction, which is around like the 45, 48-ish minute mark, but they really start making the comments that I focused on around the 50. Yeah, well, really around here. Actually, yeah, it's around here. It's around 47-ish, 45, and then you could just continue and you'll get it, right? But the point was made. Now, why is this important? Look, we're in the this is the intellectualizing misandry talk, right? That's what this is. This is the intellectualizing misandry talk. This is the playing down what happened to black men. And even Geechee said, like, wait, were there more black women lynched during Jim Crow? Or I think he either said Jim Crow or slavery. I want to say he said Jim Crow, but were there more black women lynched than black men? And it's like I'm hearing him ask that question. Excuse me, got to get the K in there. Ask that question, and I'm wondering, wait, are you being funny? Like, are you being sarcastic? Or do you really think that there were more? Like, is this a real question? Right? Is this a real question? But this is what intersectionality intersectionality will always have us playing down what happens to black men. Like, black men don't have there's no intersection for black men for being black and man in a white supremacist society, and how that adversely affects them in a way that it does not affect black women, in a way that's that black women don't have to deal with and maybe not even consider, right? At worst, they have to deal with the residual effects of black men being the target of whatever, right? Absolutely insane, right? Trade tracks. So, listening to Geechee speak, listening to Diallo speak, and there's just like mocking. and it's very interesting. And I gotta say this, because I'm gonna start saying this more and more. I've said it before. This talk to black men about anti-patriarchy, right? And then when black women end up dating these white dudes who are patriarchs, or when they insult black men and they belittle black men and they talk about how you're not on their level, and etc., etc. It's all these undertones, very overt tones. That's real patriarchal. They're judging you through a patriarchal lens. And then I watch all these black leftist men, right? And you can see even Dr. Jared Ball, he felt a little uncomfortable in the direction that he was going in by pretty much calling out the sexism, the anti-black male misandry. And you can see he felt uncomfortable doing that. And I'm like, but that's what it is. It is exactly what we say here. It is intellectualizing misandry. It is intellectualizing anti-black male. It's always putting black women in the position to say, well, we suffer more, so whatever crumbs come from the state need to fall to us. Right? We need to be the disseminators of whatever the hell happens or is granted or is given or is fought for by and for the black community. Black women, because you can't trust black men to do it because they want to be patriarchs. Never mind that we kind of want them to be too. And when we do leave, we leave for white and Latino and Asian patriarchs. White patriarchs, let's stop playing this. Not about Latino or Asian men. Right? So, listening to Geechee speak, listening to Diallo speak, and like I said, this is how like the intellectuals, the educated, right, black men see it. They see it. They just ignore it. They see the intellectualizing of misandry directed towards black men. They see how black men concerns get marginalized and sidelined because all you want to do is be a white man. Meanwhile, the black women want you to be a white man, or they just want the white man. That part. They see it. So what, and this is why Dr. Thunder and Dr. Ron O'Neill and Dr. T and Dr. Green Gorilla, right? All the brothers we have in the space with master's degrees. This is why we have to protect them, because all the other educated black men are mums the word. Right? Dr. Dunbar, we got to protect them because all the other educated black men, they see it. They won't say nothing. They see the sexism coming from black women. Yes, even highly advanced degree educated black women, they see it. They see black women intellectualizing the misandry. They see black men and what they've contributed to the black community marginalized more and more. Her story, right? They're just never going to address it. That's what they're saying. And remember, Diallo Kenyatta got 2 sons. He has 2 sons. From my understanding, I think Dr. Jared Ball only has girls. He has 2 daughters, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm not sure if Geechee has children. I don't think so. Once it's time to be like, see this black intellectual, this black woman, this black intellectual, see, I don't really appreciate that. And all of a sudden they start getting it feels weird. It feels weird to critique what we know is this sexism and this anti-black misandry coming from black women. Ooh, if I don't know what to say to this. Right? And like this was my response to MD Signifier also. It's not being about mean, it's about like y'all never gonna call this out because don't expect the women to. Like don't ever. The closest, the most we get is from Juicy. Occasionally, Khadijah will make a blink and you'll miss it comment. And every once in a blue moon, Kim Foster will make a blink and you'll miss it comment. Right? It's not It's not 30-minute long, hour long critiques of women and their pathology and how they're aspiring for some type of toxic femininity, or they're talking all this anti-patriarchy talk, but they really secretly want the patriarchs. And all these, like Fab Socialism said, all these radical black women that end up with these white men because they want the residuals of white patriarchy. No, there's no hour long think pieces on that. No, no, no. No 30-minute long think pieces on that. No, no, no. No video essays on that. No, no, no. Black women are not FD, Dr. Jared Ball, can y'all, if y'all wait, they're never yeah, they're not doing that. Nope. Meanwhile, it's nothing to bang out an hour and a half long video essay about the black manosphere and how toxic it is, about black men and how toxic they are, about the fall of men, etc., etc. That's nothing. Once again, but even here we have women with the provide, protect, and shut up. But I don't hear y'all saying anything about that, right? Of course not. And black men are just supposed to eat that. The clear hypocrisy. For Dr. Jared, and like I said, I have to watch it, so that's why you don't see me going into too much detail. But for Dr. Jared Ball and Geechee to see this, and you see Geechee kind of left it, but Dr. Jared, it bothered him. But then he just, you know what? Maybe it's because I'm a man, and wow. How many women, how many PhD women say, well, maybe it's because I'm a woman, and maybe I just don't get it. Once again, it's this assumption that they're morally superior to us, or they have a standpoint theory, right? They have a better view of these things because they're black plus women. That's the intersectional lens, right? Because they're black plus women, they understand oppression better than us, and they're not looking for power, right? They're looking for justice, unlike black men who just want to recreate white male patriarchy and paint it black. So, brother FD, if you out there listening, this is why I say no. I do judge people by who you end up with. You can't be talking all that pro blacks, especially now. If you want to speak about the elders from yesteryear, okay, that's a different conversation. But especially now, because a whole lot of people talking a whole lot of rah rah rah. And really, let's call a thing a thing. They're going at black men. They're antagonizing black men. They're insulting black men. They're belittling black men and their contribution in their history. And then there were non-black spouses. And like no one calls that out. But if it had been the reverse, you imagine someone like Byron Allen, quote unquote, critiquing black women, how quick people would have told him to shut the hell up. Or Robert Smith, or Jordan right now. Black women were dancing on Kobe Bryant's grave, and the man ain't never say nothing negative about black women just because he wasn't married to a black woman. They danced on his grave just because he wasn't married to a black woman and he was rich. How dare he? And you try to tell me if he had the unmitigated gall, no matter if, let's say Kobe had a PhD and he tried to, critique black women and their pathology or etc., they wouldn't tell him to shut the hell up. You don't got no black wife. You don't get to talk. And even if you had a black wife, let's be clear, you still don't get to talk because you're only coming at it from a sexist worldview. All of a sudden, boys to men, right? All of a sudden, black men are no longer boys; they're men now because they're what, analyzing how this goes. It's insane. This is absolutely insane. So, you know, I'm listening to this, and when it got to this thing segment, and once again, I think it's on Netflix. It's called Stamped, if I'm not mistaken. And like Dr. Jared Ball said, like he don't understand why that point had to be made, and I'm like, wait, you don't, you get it. There's no way you don't get it. See, if I grant that there's a black gender war, at least there was a black gender war, right? There's no way, because the way it's framed in polite circles, right, is black men are just out here throwing haymakers at black women. They're insulting black women's physical features. They're out here getting a couple dollars, ending up with white women. They're just antagonizing black women. They're mean. They're sexist. They're colorist, right? They're failed white patriarchs. It's just black men are just throwing haymakers, right? They weaponize their incompetence towards black women. Black men are just the absolute worst ever. But black women, on the other hand, I mean, they're just looking for justice and they just want someone to love them, right? That's the way it's framed. The entire conversation between black men and black women is that black women just want someone to love them and take care of them and show genuine interest in them, right? And in a political sense, all they want is justice. Black women are not looking to be, part of the empire. No. Black women don't want to be the beauty standard. No. They don't have any, want or aspiration for these worldly things. No, that's a black man thing. That's how this is framed. And it allows so much of this conversation to be lopsided. Where once again, you see Dr. Jared Ball, you see him say, did that point have to be made? But yes, it had to be made. Y'all haven't said anything about it yet. Where are all the PhDs, black male PhDs, to be like, okay, look, we're tired of black women weaponizing the fact that they're black women against black men like me. Essentially telling me to shut up whenever I say anything about the relationship between black men and black women or the lack of relationship between black men and black women. Right? So yeah, they're gonna keep on jabbing at black men in general. Because those of you who are equipped, you know the history, you know the names, you know the dates. Y'all just letting black women like Angela Davis and other black just run the yard. Y'all let me make this super clear. I'm going right at y'all neck with this one. Y'all let black people come out of the civil rights movement, and you let black women, and not so much for you, Dr. Jared Ball and Kenyatta, because y'all too old, young, particularly and especially Geechee, but black educated men, many of them, not all. Let me not just say let, because there was a little bit of fight. Let's be honest, because we watched Dr. Green Gorilla bring up scholars from back then that did push back. So I'm not just gonna say let like that. But Dr. Jared Balls and the Diallo Kenyatas, oh, they definitely let black women do the black men talk black and sleep white. You let black women say that, like black women coming out the civil rights movement wasn't having sex with white dudes, they just wasn't getting married to them because the white dudes wasn't checking like that. Huh. We allowed for the framing of the conversation between black men and black women to be almost wholly framed by black women in these type of ivory towers. and they get to hide their misandry behind their education, behind 4 and 5 syllable words, right? They get to hide their anti-black male ideas behind 4 and 5 syllable words. And women, excuse me, men like Diallo and Dr. Jared Ball, they keep on talking about black men and this patriarchy and patriarchy and patriarchy. And I don't really see them grapple with how much black women actually want this and how much when we did and I gotta stress this because I'm hoping to remember to actually have say these type of things. Um Stripping black men of that doesn't change the fact that black women want it. All they're gonna do is just go somewhere else to get it, white men, right? I don't know where y'all get this from. Where black men want to be patriarchs and they want this and just let go of it and these patriarchy and anti-patriarchy and I'm not just talking about Keisha in the hood. I'm talking about the same educated black women that y'all sat next to in class, in university, in college. I'm talking about black women with advanced degrees. I'm talking about upwardly mobile black women. I'm talking about black women that earn 70, 80, 100, 120,000 plus dollars a year. 150 a year. That talk to you about toxic masculinity all day, every day, and anti-patriarchy all day, every day, and then you turn around and they have a white husband and they start dancing and telling you how it's not that in love and he touches my soul and he understands me and yeah, that sounds nice. And that's not seen as hypocritical. To have all this smoke from black men, you just hide it behind a PhD. A couple of letters before your name and after your name. But yet you married to a whole white man. And shout out to Big Kev and thank you for the super chat. When are you going to be on FD show? I don't know if I'm going to be on FD show. I think FD probably will pop up on me over here, but I don't know if I'm going to be. I don't think like FD has this thing about not introducing his subscribers because it's all about like the quote unquote safe space, right? You got to be a leftist to understand. It's not really complicated. I'm just saying, but it's not exposing the people that you're in community with something that might they might feel is unnerving or like antagonizing or hurtful, so FD might pop up over here, right? But bringing me onto his channel, yeah, first of all, he might not want me to do those type of numbers. He doesn't want to be held responsible if I mess around and say something and in the future and people like who platformed him, who made him relevant, who made him and then everybody points to FD. So yeah, FD will pop up here. He won't, yeah. He's not gonna, he's not gonna let me on his channel. And I understand, right? I disagree. I think I can speak without antagonizing or inflaming and actually making cogent points and coherent points. But yeah, that whole safe space and not, essentially bringing someone in to disturb the peace. I get it, right? So yeah, he doesn't want me to. He doesn't want to bring me on his channel to mess around and say something. He's like, "Oh, that sounds a little too anti-LGBTQ," or "Oh, that sounds too misogynistic," or. So I get it, I get it. But yeah, no, we haven't scheduled anything yet. I don't think he's emailed me. So like he said soon. So soon could be soon. Soon is such a like nebulous word, so it could be whenever, right? Soon could be today, soon could be, you know, that could be a week from now, soon could be whenever. And y'all give me 1 second. Talk amongst yourselves. And we're back. So yeah, look, and thank you for the super chat, Big Kev. Um this is something that we really are gonna have to like maybe encourage more of our intellectuals to grapple with, because what is shown here is, yeah, they see it in documentaries, they see it in movies, they, you know, our black male intellectuals, they see it, they just were never going to say anything. It was just going to be Dr. Tommy Curry and Dr. T. Hassan Johnson and Dr. Green Gorilla and Dr. Ron O'Neill and Dr. Dunbar and the like and Dr. Thunder and the like. It was just going to be them, and all the other black men see it, and excuse me, they just duck their head. Well, like, I got my wife and kids. I'm just gonna go hide out over here, and I ain't gonna say nothing about all this goddamn misandry that all these intellectual black women be spewing, and all the little weird comments they say in the and you know in the work cafeteria. I'm not gonna say nothing about that. I'm just gonna keep my head down, right? I'm not gonna say how hypocritical they are by speaking all this anti-black this and well, anti-black patriarchy. When they, I know about such and such and what she doing with the other white professor down the hall. They just were never gonna say anything, and they never will. It's up to us, which is good. This is the beauty of social. If you want to know why I say the internet will expose us all, let them talk. The beauty of social media and the internet and it democratizing the town square is that we don't have to wait for Dr. Jared Ball or Diallo Kenyatta to actually say, okay, look, this is sexist as hell. This is misandry at its highest order. We don't have to wait. I said it already. Diallo Kenyatta, he saw what happened with Kiki Palmer and Darius Jackson, and he saw the comments coming from black women about, yeah, she make the money. Of course she called the shots. Who is he to dictate? She's the one. She's the famous one. She's the rich one. And he saw those comments, and he made mention of those comments, and he left it alone. Ain't no deep dive. And Diallo he is a great thinker. He can talk, but he left that one alone. He made mention of it and left it alone. Of course he did. Because whenever it's time, and this is why, I really, to moment of honesty, I really felt away when FD Signifier said, y'all want us to be mean to black women so bad, or you want me to be mean to black women so bad. No, I want you to be honest with them. Stop patty caking and ducking and dodging and tying yourselves into pretzels when it's time to be like, hey, black women, that ain't right. Stop ignoring the misbehavior. FD, you were the only one, brother, to call Cynthia G out for her freaking Nazi ass language. You. Kim Foster had a channel longer than you. T Noir. Nappy head at home, but they said nothing. Come on, man. So if y'all want to know why there's a black manosphere, that's why there's a black manosphere. Because we got a handful of black intellectuals over here that's really pushed. That's like, yeah, you know what? Hey, I'm not gonna ignore the plight of my brothers just so I don't offend some black women. Because they're always gonna find a way to justify it. Dear Dr. Jared Ball, dear Diallo Kenyatta, Diallo, you have two boys. I'm just saying. Dear Geechee, these black women, they're always gonna find a way to justify it. They're always gonna find a way to justify their misandry. They're always going to find a way. Whether it's in through an intersectional lens, standpoint theory, right? The moral high ground. And Michael Ross says, bet they've said something about the manosphere. Yeah, Diallo Kenyatta and Dr. Jared Ball, they jab at the black manosphere all the time. They jab at the black manosphere all the time. But the excuse is going to always be something like, well, proportionality, right? They've really taken like this whole black women are like the moral backbone of the black community and moral center, and they've really taken that and just ran with it, right? They've taken that and ran with it. And so you know, if you see Dr. Jared Ball say, why did that point have to be made, right? And Diallo jokingly says, somebody has to get the gold and somebody has to get the silver in the oppression Olympics. And it's like, you're being funny, but you're not, right? Like, you get it, but you just won't say it. And for Dr. Jared Ball to say, it kind of bothered him. I'm like, yeah, it should. Y'all realize the black women that we're speaking about won't even let black men have ownership of their own murder. If your murder don't benefit them, then that shit ain't happen. It ain't real. Mr. Z, did you just say that? Yes, I did. Let me say it again. These particular black women won't even let you have ownership of your own death. Anyone want to say BLM? They won't even allow for the people that look like other black men, to benefit from your death. Anyone want to say BLM again? And what Dr. Jared Ball and Diallo Kenyatta think that, well, if I just ignore it and don't say anything about it, then what? Then what? White racist society can keep on using these particular black women as the handmaidens to play down the plight of black men, right? As I said to MD Signifier earlier this year, to be the colonizing agents, which once again he did not disagree with. Huh. Toya killed me. The chocolate bar. Right. Hashtag black men are elite. Right. So yeah, you're gonna feel a certain way, Dr. Jared Ball. For Dr. Jared Ball to be my elder, for Diallo Kenyatta to be my elder, I think me and Geach are about the same age. Right. For these people to be my elder and ha, it, the reason why I'm bringing things like that up, and I know a lot of brothers felt a certain way. I read some of the comments about brothers saying stop putting FD on a pedestal and stop talking down on yourself, Z, and et cetera, et cetera. I say stuff like that for multiple reasons. One of which being to emphasize, if I see it, you see it. If Z sees the hypocrisy, if Z sees the inconsistencies, if Z sees the flaw in the argument, the hole in the argument, right? If Z sees the insult to black men, black men's contribution, right? Black men's hard work, the fact that, you know, black men are the primary target of state violence in America, you know, right? Especially physical state violence in America. If Z sees that, there's no way the FDs don't see it, the Dr. Jared Balls don't see it, and the Diallo Kenyatas don't see it, right? Pause. So if they do, then it shouldn't be a difficult transition to for Z to also see how many black women are very hypocritical, are very belittling, are very insulting of black men. Let me say this again, real slow, because of high school trauma, because of youthful rejection, because they have a yes, even the intellectuals critiquing neoliberalism have a neoliberal assessment of men themselves. Let me say that one more time, because I don't know why you think just because these people know what they're talking about, they still not engaging in it. Let's say it one more again. Black women who critique capitalism and neoliberalism, who couch that under white supremacy, right, in an economic form, who still judge men by those same standards. Once again, as Fab Socialism said, all these radical black women, right? Why are so many, I think she said so many radical black women with white men? And like I say, because they don't really mean it. It's one thing to be about that talk. It's a whole nother thing to have to traverse this world with another black person and having to deal with the system going at their neck every single day and the system going at your neck every single day and y'all working it out and not trying to find some goddamn escape hatch out of it and be like, oh no, it's love and I found somebody that I could connect with and we have similar hobbies and we went to the same type of schools and we live in the same type of neighborhood. And why do you want to talk about this like it's struggle, Mr. Z? That sounds so struggle. That's struggle love, Mr. Z. That sounds so boring. Well, not boring. Right. Wrong word. It sounds so difficult. It's so hard. Why would I want to do that? Right. What? That's the word. That's the term I was looking for. Trauma bond. Why would I want to trauma bond with another person? That's struggle love and trauma bonding, Z. And so on the other side of that is the escape hatch. Now, like I said before, you can't expect black women to ever say that's what they engaged in. Ever. Even your intellectuals, even your black women coming out of the ivory towers, they'll never say it. So, dear black men, we all we got. The black manosphere, we're all where we got. Because watching what Diallo, Kenyatta, and Dr. Jared Ball just engaged in just solidified for me that brothers like that are never going to speak to your plight, particularly coming from black women. How some of them know they're a colonizing agent, they're perfectly okay with it, they prefer it. How um they are getting and insulting black men, they are belittling you, they are insulting you, they are saying, no, 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 white society, don't look it over there, look over here, look at what we've done, look at what I can do. Right. So this is the beauty of social media. This is when social media is actually positive, because we get to call these people out for their silence, for their hypocrisy, for them turning the blind eye, but we also get to speak for ourselves, right? So they can keep on jabbing at the black manosphere as much as they want. They keep on playing down all of these goddamn intellectual black women that keep on once again jabbing at black men in general. They can keep on ignoring that, right? And we'll just keep on calling it out. But it's good that we know and we're on notice so we can call them out for their hypocrisy, right? And their silence. There was some other things said further down, but I already forgot what they were. I was so hyper focused on, wow. So Dr. Jared Ball said that. He said, you know, did that point have to be made? It's like, yes. The point of how hard black men had it, but black women had it harder. Yes. While it was a relative handful of black women that were hung compared to black men, yes, yes, they had to make the point. Even when nobody asked it, right? Absolutely. And y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. So that's why we're speaking about this. Look, shout out once again, shout out to the PhDs in this space. Shout out to the other brothers with other advanced degrees in this space. Thank you for being here. Thank you for speaking up. Those of you that speak about this in your real life, thank you very much. Because if it wasn't for y'all helped to bring legitimacy to this space. Because the Dr. Jared Balls and the Diallo Kenyattas, they're not gonna do it. Right? They're gonna keep on playing down your plight. They're gonna keep on saying, "Oh no, the problem is you're trying to be patriarchal like the white men. Your problem is that." Meanwhile, you put a microphone in front of black women, and even your intelligent, even your educated black women, let them talk long enough. That's why I say let them talk. Let them talk long enough, and y'all know where Mr. Z going. We're gonna end up right under the white man's scrotum. Eventually, they're gonna tie themselves in the pretzels, speaking negatively about you and justifying it, and then we're gonna end up under some wrinkle pale balls. Eventually. Or for some of the more radical and lesbian black women, will end up under a black woman's vulva, another black woman's vulva, eventually. This is absolutely insane. Yeah, well, this is a way to read it. And Samuel Norton says they will allow women to walk into trouble because they don't want to offend them, and that's all it is. And I don't think there's so much market and money and to be made and well wishes, you know, and positive vibes to be made off of just not of being offensive to women in general. Yes, even some of our critical thinker, educated class of black women, right? The ones that take any type of subject and flip it upside down and right side up and left and right and backward and forward, and in any other scenario, they can break it down. They can tell you, they can just explain it masterfully. And then we start talking about intimacy and sex when it comes to black women, and money and power and status when it comes to black women, and black women and their aspirations. And all of a sudden, right? You know, Dr. Jared Ball played a clip, and it was a sister saying, it was another one of these sisters that really know her stuff, and she said something like, when you ask black people what they want, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember exactly. When you ask black people what they want, they know exactly what they want. It's what white people have. And I'm like, see, it's easy to say that because when you say that, people are thinking black men, right? What happens when you ask black women in a vacuum what they want? See, Dr. Jared Ball, you played that clip. You played that clip. And he played it both before and after. If I remember correctly, he played that clip both before and after him and Geechee and Diallo Kenyatta got into the whole thing of Angela Davis saying, black men had it hard, but black men had it hard, but black women had it harder. And when he played that clip, I'm like, but don't you? If I recall correctly, I remember him playing it both before and after. But like, don't you understand how that applies to the Angela Davises and other black women, and even if it doesn't apply exactly to Angela Davis, but other black women, yes, even black women you went to school with, even other black women who's working here with PhDs in Africana studies, even if they don't want the white man, they want the white woman's life, the upper middle class and above white woman's life. Right? We have to dead this idea that black women are more moral than black men. They're more loyal than black men. They have a better understanding of justice. They have a better justice claim, right? Intersectionality and that lens informs them better. The standpoint theory, we got to dead all that because what it's doing is allowing black women to marginalize, and that's what Angela Davis did, minimize and marginalize black men. That's why, by the way, shout out to Green Gorilla. Green Gorilla has some questions for Kimberly Crenshaw. But that's also why even the white man, the white British man, like Whitey McWhite, Dr. Richard Reeves got smoked for Kimberly Crenshaw because he realizes how Kimberly Crenshaw and her acolytes weaponize intersectionality against black men. And that's a white man, a researcher. You trying to tell me Dr. Jared Ball and Diallo Kenyatta don't realize it? Yeah, they realize it. They just never gonna say anything about it because the misogyny over here in the black manosphere, and black men are so misogynistic. And meanwhile, if Diallo Kenyatta is correct in the oppression Olympics. And what have black women exactly done with their gold medal in oppression Olympics? We're talking about black women that occupy the same spaces as you and Dr. Jared Ball. What exactly have they done with their gold medal in the oppression Olympics? Especially, what have they done with their gold medal in the oppression Olympics in relation to black men? So once again, if there wasn't a black manosphere, so y'all was never gonna say, y'all were never going to say anything about all of these black women coming out of academia and just dumping on black men, just finding intellectual ways of just trashing black men, finding the most sophisticated way of saying black men ain't ish. So y'all was just never gonna say anything, right? And that's all it is black women academics just trashing black men, minimizing black men, belittling black men, hiding behind their PhDs, and the idea that people think because they're adults and they're PhDs, there's absolutely she's still not reeling with childhood rejection trauma. Shit, right? I don't know where y'all coming from. Y'all give me a second. Y'all talk amongst yourselves. My background. And we're back. And Demetrius says childhood trauma is rampant. And I want to be very clear the type of childhood trauma I'm speaking about. I'm not speaking about an uncle who did something inappropriate. I'm not speaking about a heavy handed father. I'm speaking very clearly about childhood rejection trauma. Oh, yeah, Mr. Z, go. Mr. Z, are you saying adult 30 something year old, right? Let's rephrase that. Mr. Z, are you saying that adult 30 some odd year old, 40 some odd year old, 50 some odd year old, 60 some odd year old black women have all this angst and anger towards black men for relationship situations that might have occurred when they were in their 20s and 30s, or for not feeling desirable by black boys and young black men when they were in their teens and 20s? Mr. Z, are you saying that we have women with advanced degrees who attended some of the most prestigious institutions in this nation and who are highly academically inclined, highly accomplished, right? Are you saying that women that graduated high school at 17 and 18 years old and then turn around and spent another decade or so, another decade and a half in the ivory towers across this nation, are you boiling them down and saying that much of their critique of black men come from, one, because it's actually beneficial financially, two, because they're dealing with youthful and childhood rejection trauma, three, because they resent their ex-husbands or ex-boyfriends that are black, right? And four, just because it's fun? Are you saying that, Mr. Z? Well, Yes, yes, I am. Right. Uh, and Dr. Dunbar asks, Z, did you see Tamron Hall's woman buying housing discussion? No, I did not, but I will be checking it out. If you don't mind putting the link in and in the in my comments later, thank you very much if you can. Right, but I will. And we see a lot of this, right? And for the longest, for a couple decades, more than a couple decades, black women like this just get to run the board and run the yard, and it just reminds me of Gayle King speaking to Lisa Leslie about Kobe Bryant. That was the prime example of what I'm speaking. This is a woman trying to press a black woman trying to press another black woman to say something negative about her dead friend, her black male friend, someone she had respect for, someone she admirated, excuse me, had admiration for, right? And when Lisa Leslie has no negative stories for Gayle King, and when the black community sees, no, you're not just asking her questions, you're trying to press her to say something negative about Kobe. And the black community, mainly black men, but even black women, even some black women, but mainly black men, get at Gayle King. Then Gayle King and Oprah go into damsel in distress white woman mode. Oh my God, the black community is attacking me. Black men are attacking us. And here go bum ass Joe Scarborough, cheating on his wife with Mika Brzezinski. Didn't marry Mika Brzezinski, bum ass. Then he jumps in there, shut your ass up. This has nothing to do with you. Right? So that's a problem. That was, I don't know if we've had a better example than that over the past few years. A black woman pressing another black woman to say something negative about a black man because Gayle King's still in with the fact. If I understand correctly, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, Gayle King walked in on her husband cheating on her. If I understand that correctly, I might have that wrong. So don't quote me. But if that's true, so we have this black woman who, and if I'm also mistaken, I think she says she's over it. Right, right. So Gayle King trying to press another black woman to say something negative about a dead black man, and when she doesn't get the response she wants, but it's very clear to the black community, namely black men, what Gayle King was on, and we get at her mainly on social media. Ain't nobody was gonna really run up on Gayle King in real life. Snoop says something a rapper would say, and all of a sudden, Gayle King and Oprah go into total white woman victim mode. And the white establishment does what it does for black women. What other better example you have? There you go. And why did I bring up Gayle King for this? To show professional black women in positions of power and influence that are very visible, and how they can weaponize their position against black men. And that is exactly what Gayle King was engaging in when it came to Kobe Bryant, and white media pretended like they didn't send her on that mission, or that they didn't see that she was doing it. Can't call us racist. Look, it's another black woman trying to sully Kobe Bryant's name. with another black woman. Unfortunately for Lisa Leslie, she didn't bite. She didn't go along with the plan. Dear Lisa, you were supposed to tell Gail King, yeah. When we used to go out, we used to go to clubs sometimes, and Kobe would be hitting on other women, and I think I saw him grab another woman's arm before. I think I saw him slap a woman on her backside before. And he was just so vulgar, and there's a whole different side of Kobe Bryant that y'all didn't know. And he was such a monster, and he tried to hit on me one time. That's what you were supposed to say, dear Leslie. That is how the game is played, right? So on that note, everyone, look, oh yeah, like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. I covered this today. To be frank with you, you know, I want to use the word disappointing, although it's expected, um, and predictable, but I still want to use the word disappointing. It is disappointing to see black male academics and intellectuals and black men that people tend to respect and have genuine admiration for, who see black women jabbing at black men. They see it, they hear it, right? They smell it, they know what it is. And when it happens, they say nothing or they play it down. They minimize it. While more recently, jabbing at black men, particularly black men in the black manosphere. So you don't understand why there's a black manosphere? Right? What we were supposed to wait for Dr. Jared Ball and Diallo Kenyatta to speak for us? You were never gonna say anything. Dr. Jared Ball felt a certain way about whatever segment him and Geechee was. He felt, and Geechee did too. The way y'all felt is the whole reason there's a black manosphere, because black men have been feeling and thinking that same way for decades, and brothers like you, Dr. Jared Ball, did and said nothing in our behalf. Ooh, Z. Because you actually feared walking into a space full of black women and having the daggers pointed at you. Want to know why black men are not in church? Want to know why more and more black men are not engaging with the black community? Want to know why black men are talking about SYSBM and passport bros? Well, Dr. Jared Ball and Diallo Kenyatta, well, you can keep on calling it misogyny and patriarchy and da. You can keep on doing that all you want. Y'all have proven why it's happening through action, or better yet, inaction. Diallo Kenyatta, you have two boys. This is what I said. This is what I meant when I said, you know, mean, right? Mean question mark to FD signifier. It's not mean. It's watching y'all tie yourselves into knots to ignore black women's misbehavior concerning black men. Let me be clear again. Black women's misbehavior concerning and in relationship to black men. The things they say, the way they move, the way they act. Y'all have nothing to say. And when you do, it's a little blink and you'll miss it, little side. They don't get whole think pieces about their misbehavior. They don't have whole video, excuse me, well thought out, well researched, hour long, hour 45-minute long, hour 30-minute long think pieces and video essays about their misbehavior in relation to black men. Fine. If y'all not going to do it, because that would come off misogynistic. Where are the black women to do it? Wait, wait, wait. Y'all don't have any. Mr. Z's whole point, right? Kim Foster could do a whole couple hours on black women in luxury and how this is, you know, it's not really a positive or great thing. It's not revolutionary. It's not beneficial to black women. But she says nothing about black women's misandry. We don't get a whole hour, hour and a half, I think an hour, and then going, you know, spinning the block and getting at black women again because you know they're gonna talk crazy if she ever did it. The most you ever get is from Julesy once again telling black women to simmer down. That's the most you get. And Julesy will spend maybe 30 minutes, 40 minutes being like, okay, there. Ain't nobody telling black women to marry down. Stop it. Chill out. That's the most you get. T Noir will put a segment in a larger video, and the segment will last, what, 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes? Right? Nappy headed hole, but will make it seem like a dichotomy between the pick me's and the divestors. Yawn. And these are not intellectuals once again, necessarily, right? These are more video essayists, etc., etc. But once again, where are the black women scholars who are saying, okay, look, we might have went too far with this, you know, ODing on insulting black men and couching it as critiquing black men? Where are the the PhDs, black women academics doing that? Where are they? They don't exist. Because, ooh, wait for it, low key, they agree. Uh-oh. You just said that, Z. I said it. You want to know why none of these black. You want to know why it was a white woman that got Cynthia GD platform? Because the black women that came across it, and that's black women from various backgrounds, educated, not educated, ADOS, not ADOS, East Coast, West Coast, South, Midwest. You want to know why it wasn't one of them who got Cynthia GD platform? Because they tacitly agree. That's why. So we'll get think pieces about black men and the black manosphere and the sexism and the misogyny and the colorism and the featureism and the texturism. And the wrong takes about female empowerment and all of that. We'll get hour and a half, 2 hour long think pieces about that. But will we even get more than 5-10 minutes about black women literally saying what happened to the days when black men would provide? No, I need a black man to provide, protect, and shut up. Or I miss the days when men would work, die, and leave you their life insurance money. Do we have anything about that? Do we have think pieces and video essays, right, of about the movie Mrs. Z, don't lose your train of thought. Um the movie about Harriet Tubman, right? And a fictitious character called Bigger Long dreamt up in somebody's imagination, a black man playing a fictitious character. His name is Bigger Long. Y'all want to talk about 12-year-old penis jokes? And Bigger Long says to a white slaver in what, the 1850s, I'm going to take this money, this prize money, if I find her, and I'm going to go spend it on white whores. Wow. Where's the think pieces talking about how that's just insane and how he would have had his teeth knocked in if not hung for speaking to a white man like that in the 1850s? Where's the thing? Nothing. Nothing. We get nothing. That's why there's a black manosphere. So Diallo can keep on jabbing at us, and Dr. Jed Ball can keep on jabbing at us, right? They could keep on ducking and dodging and tying themselves into pretzels when they're in spaces with black women academics who jab at us and make fun of black men and insult black men and have very patriarchal understandings, white patriarchal understandings of men and masculinity, while they pretend like they don't, while they're holding the hand of their white husband. Right? Or their black girlfriend or black wife. Ain't no conflict of interest there, right? Okay, yeah, that's it. Right? And these people look at us like we're the sexist, patriarchal a-holes. Right? And Samuel Norton says, I remember that movie and I remember some women still trying to defend it. Of course. Because there's not a bottom for you, dear black man. There's not there is nothing bad enough. It's never too far. They've never gone too far. When it comes to you, black men, for black women at least, it's never too far. You deserve everything negative that happens. For the particular black women we're speaking about, everything. The black community watched as BLM capitalize off of the death of black men, particularly straight black men. And you have three LGBTQ women running a movement or organization, better yet, that at its foundation, quite literally at its foundation, are the dead bodies of black men. And yet, queer and lesbian black women who want nothing to do with black men, and I'm not just speaking about romantically, who want nothing to do with black men, particularly straight black men, are the ones running an organization. Women who you could tell have contempt for straight black men are running an organization that at its foundation is the blood, the lives, and the memories of straight black men. The black community watched that happen and said nothing. The best you got is when the whole thing blew up in everyone's faces. Our black conservative brothers, reactionary brothers, pointing at it and laughing and saying, "Ha, we told y'all." That's the most you got. And all the black liberals and progressives ducked their head and went and hide somewhere. Because the whole time they were saying to black men like me and black men like y'all that we were sexist and homophobic, and that's why we had an issue with it, and it blew up. And don't pay attention to the memo, and don't pay attention to the mission statement. And when it blew up in everyone's face, oops. Right? Huh. What's the name of the PhD brother? The Dr. Lester. Oh, what's the name of this brother? Oh my God. and he's over here championing BLM, and it's good to see, the face is not black, black men anymore, straight black men, and well, that didn't age too well. What's the name of this brother? His doctor. You know what? Give me a second. Give me a second. We're gonna start doing this from now on. I'm not just gonna be giving y'all random stuff and not giving y'all the people name. Give me a second. I think it's Dr. Lester Spence. Am I right? I think it's Dr. Lester Spence. I want to say that to him. Let me see something, because I'm playing something. Yep. Yeah, it is Dr. Lester Spence. That's what I was speaking about. Haha. I remember. Haha. Okay. Yeah. Once again, y'all never know what Mr. Z has watched. Um. Yeah, Dr. Lester Spence. Right. And he's championing up BLM, and it's no longer these men. That's the face of the movement. And yeah, what? But mind you, we're not the face of the movement. That's literally built off of our bodies and dead bones and blood and our carcasses. We need to just shut up, die, and let other people benefit off of our deaths. Okay, cool, right? Will you just die already so that we can benefit off of your death? If you think that's not what they're saying, that's what they're saying. And so BLM does that, and then the same brothers I'm speaking about, what did y'all have to say? Are everybody focused on the hypocrisy of the money and the capitalism and the mansions and the everybody focused on that part. All the left, that's the part that they focused on. The entire left focused on that. The hypocrisy of hoarding money and spending it on these expensive things, right? And try to hide and how can we spend this about how we bought this mansion? What positive story can we spin about this? The entire left, that's what they focused on. But they didn't focus on the part where it's dead black men's bones, dead black men's bodies, dead black men, that a movement, excuse me, an organization led by three queer lesbian women took advantage of. They took advantage of the blood, the lives, and the memories of black men, straight black men primarily. Right. And Eric Deadman says, and thank you for this comment. He says, Mr. Z, everything that you laid out here is why the election next year are so fascinating for me. The backlash from decades of anti-black misandry will be interesting to watch, and that's why I really, I resent Ebony K. Williams for how she tried to frame why some 20 some odd percent of black men might vote Republican. I resent her for that because she tried to frame it like it was jealousy and she didn't frame it accurately. First of all, a good 12 or so percent of black men vote Republican most of the time anyway. The additional 8 or so percent that might get you to 20%, the reason why that exists is once again because women like you, Ebony K. Williams, women like you, Kim Foster, that's why. Women like Tiffany Cross, that's why. Right? People like Joe Biden, you want to know why? People like Simone Sanders, who asks black men for their unsolicited opinions. What? Okay, you know what? You don't have to have our opinion or our vote. How about them apples? Oops. Should have never been talking shit. Huh? Maxine Waters over here levying threats. Simone Sanders saying, who asks black men for their unsolicited opinions? Joe Biden saying, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. Tiffany Cross saying, why won't black men stand in line behind black women? Ebony K. Williams essentially saying the real reason y'all gonna vote Republicans because you're jealous of black women's progress that wasn't helped by the state, that was helped by the state to 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 actually cause the situation we're in now. Well, the state getting exactly what they want. Right? So I really resent Ebony K. Williams for trying to frame this. And once again, y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. And thank you for the super sticker, no placeholder. Right? I really resent her for trying to frame this like it's some jealousy thing. Jealousy. Jealous of a black woman, an attractive, educated, connected, well-spoken black woman who is about to have artificial insemination to have a baby? We're jealous of that? We're jealous of a black woman who claims that she's so combative that she goes on dates and her dates tell her to put the gavel down? We're jealous of that? What you think we're jealous of? Your Birkin bag? No straight black man want no Birkin bag. What you think we're jealous of? The skybox or the $1.7 million mansion that you say, or property, better yet, $1.7 million property that you in by yourself? You think we're jealous of that? Give a black man a $1.7 million property and see how many women are walking in and out of there. You think we're jealous of that, Ebony K. Williams? You think we're jealous of your failed attempt at swirling? You think we're jealous of that? Yeah, Trell, she thinks we're jealous of her 2 vials of sperm. Yeah, of black sperm, right? You think we're jealous of that? So, no, Ebony K. Williams, it's not jealousy. Other black men are showing you that they resent women like you through action. You might want to, Mr. Z, you almost lost. Well, I've been using profanity, peppering profanity here and there, but I was gonna drop that heavy f bomb. You might want to simmer down over there, Ebony K. Williams. We'll say that. We ain't gonna say it the way Mr. Z really wanted to say it. Shout out to Juicy J. Right? So, dear Dr. Jared Ball, Diallo Kenyatta, Geechee, the reason why y'all are facing these issues is because you and the brothers that preceded you, many of y'all kind of let that go. Y'all never said anything. Many of you, not all of you, but most, when you were in these spaces with other academically accomplished black women and they would jab at black men and insult black men and, you know, act like they not over here sleeping with the white dude too, right? Because a couple of brothers are walking around here holding a white woman's hand, and they acting like, yeah, they not walking around here holding the white man's hand because the white man doesn't want to hold their hand, but they still having sex with the black woman. Y'all let those black women slide. And now, with the rise of social media and social media commentators, and once again, we have some academically accomplished black women, right? Once again, the Khadijas and the Kim Fosters, and I think Nappy and Hoba, and right. And so it is a mixture of pop culture and more serious analysis, serious in air quotes, and all of you, where's the analysis of black women's misandry? Don't got it. Black women insulting black men using a very neoliberal lens. Once Diallo got he was there and he was like, "Ooh, I'm gonna back up out of here. I'm gonna moonwalk out of here." Cha-cha slide, right? Because you saw he went there. He was like, "Wait, these black women over here talking about essentially so Kiki Palmer gets to do whatever she want to do because she earned more money." And he was right there. This is black women neoliberal assessment of men and masculinity and manhood and their position. He's there. He's right. There's so much he could have grappled with. He could have took so much out of that. And he was like, "Look, I'm gonna just leave that there." And he said it more than once. He brought it up more than once in more than one of his streams. Excuse me. And then he just moonwalked right up out of there. And that anyone who's ever heard Diallo Kenyatta speak, that brother could have ripped that subject to shreds. But no, he moonwalked right up out of there. And that let me know. And that's why there's a black manosphere. That let me know what y'all on over there. And you could tell Dr. Jared Ball bought up FD Signifier's Swarnomics. Right? And wait a minute, Z, you don't even have to do all of this. FD Signifier himself said it on the video when he said he found way worse content from divestors. He just didn't want to essentially sully black women's names. So y'all will go all in the crates on the bottom of the crate to speak negatively about black men. And I'm not necessarily FD Signifier. I will say I think FD Signifier, he ain't gonna go. That's not. I'll say that. I don't think that's really his style. But how many of y'all? Once again, this is my point. When it comes time to say black women tisk tisk, y'all don't even really do the tisk tisk. Black women do the tisk tisk, but nobody does what y'all do with black men. So, brother FD, if you think that's Mr. Z saying, I want you to be mean to black women. No, I want you to be even-handed, but y'all can't do that. Black men can't do it and black women can't do it. So once again, we have black women. That's why Cynthia G exists. That's why Chrissy exists. That's why Paris Malone can go around calling black men nakers. That's why Alexis Exodus exists. Women like this with their absolutely insane rhetoric exist online and sometimes in real life. Because once again, who gonna check me, boo? Because y'all won't. And even academically accomplished other black women don't got nothing to say. And the thing is real. If M. Tucson randomly one day, on This Is Revolution, randomly, her and Pascal Robert was speaking to Jason Miles, and randomly, I don't know how I don't even recall how it got here, but they were saying, yeah, the black gender wars online are crazy. Yes, of course. Right? Exactly, GC. Community will never get fixed if we only focus on fixing one gender. But this is where Leslie Jones comes in. This is where the white woman I covered earlier, well, late last year comes in, right? Where they just say, we've done the work, we're doing the work, we've done the work. So they feel like they're fixed, they fix themselves, and other women fix them. But black men are out here acting a fool. There's nothing wrong with them. It's the black men, right? So they already feel that they would flip that on its head and say, no, one gender is fixing itself or is already fixed. It is black women, right? Huh. Y'all give me a second. Y'all talk amongst yourselves. Yeah. So, I covered this today. Like I said, I'm about to come to a close in a minute. I think it needed to be covered. We need to speak about the hypocrisy. We need to speak about how these people will find themselves right in the like right in the middle of it, right in the thick of it. They'll be like, wait. Ooh, I don't really know. Okay, so how do I say? What am I supposed to say? I mean, I see black women misbehaving, or this did make me feel a certain way, but I don't. Ooh, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna back out. I'm just gonna back out of this, right? We could critique black men all day, every day, and twice on Sunday. But when it comes time to say, hey, black women, this, ooh, I don't know about this one. And that's the reason why I brought up, right, the video essayist all the way across to the hardcore academics, right? From black women to black men, from Teen Noir all the way to Dr. Jared Ball and Diallo Kenyatta. Ain't nobody, everybody playing, everybody moonwalking. Khadijah talking about hetero pessimism and how to queer your relationships. You mean queer your relationships on one side? You mean queer your black women ain't sided? That's the oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god. That's the whole reason why the swirlers and divestors are on what they're on. They're telling you, I ain't doing 50-50 financially. You could keep that. They see that as struggle love, right? They see that as struggle love. Shout out to Chrissy. They're telling you they're not signing up for it, right? So you mean black men come home, wash dishes, sweep, clean up, while also being paymaster, right? So being over glorified guard dog and walking wallet, while also helping out with chores in the house. And if you have a child, obviously being equally as present and attentive as the mother. And what does she do? Right? I pro like I said, I said this to FD, and he said no, he's not his bubble, and he has aunts and whatever girl cousins or whatever he said that are on the same thing, and I'm like, y'all gotta be in y'all bubble because there's no way Mr. Z hears black women in real life saying these things, and definitely online, and yet whenever we listen to these people speak, it's like, wait a minute, are you talking to black women? I mean, letting them talk, not putting words in their mouth. That's why I say let them talk, because eventually you're going to get to a real dark, ugly place, which is essentially, oh, Mr. Z, you're about to say it. Why couldn't it have been black men that went around the planet, raped, pillaged, and conquered, and made me a upper middle class white woman? God damn, Z, you said that. And if you listen long enough, it almost always gets there. Right? Oh yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, they definitely need you to be a dildo also, Trell. Oh definitely. A vibrator, oh definitely. What are you if you're not that? Right? If we're gonna be real scientific with the language, right? Genetic material depositor. Right? Ain't that right, Ebony K. Williams? Ebony K. Williams is, well, she already got it. She has two vials of genetic material, right? Black male genetic material. Good one, Samuel Norton. Guys like them are an opinion away from being dusty. Exactly. And that's all. And on that note, everyone, we will pause right there. You know, um, yeah, y'all like up the stream, right? Before compassionate and callous come in and tell y'all being bogus right now, right? So, okay, everyone. On that note, she did, she definitely did, right? So, like I said, to Dr. Jared Ball, to Diallo Kenyatta, to Geechee, y'all see it, man. I know in y'all spaces, if there's a conversation, y'all see it, y'all hear those comments. Because Mr. Z has been in spaces with some of these. I don't want to give the details on how I've gotten into those spaces. But I've been in certain spaces, and bro, it usually is not about that. To be honest, it's about business or whatever. Um, but when you find yourselves in those spaces and those type of, yeah, yep, and the men and the women are dogpiling the young men, bro. They're defecate. Their sons are all type of wayward. Their nephews, man. By the way, they're not just throwing black men under the bus. They throwing black boys under the bus. But look, and there's no way y'all are seeing that. Excuse me. There's no way y'all are not seeing that. No, you hear it, you see it, you smell it, and you say nothing. So once again, and we'll end that on this. Once again, shout out to our PhDs in this space. Shout out to our academically accomplished brothers in this space, right? Because y'all didn't have to be here. Some of y'all, you show your faces. Some of you, a few of you actually give your real names. Um, yeah. Some of you are doing this at the risk of getting doxxed. And I applaud you because it could have been so easy to be another person dogpiling black men. Yeah. Yeah, they are sexist. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Or just be quiet and duck your head and say nothing and potentially sacrifice your sons on the altar of the black gynocracy. But let's be honest, if you're in certain environments, you wouldn't. Your son would just come home with a white or Latina. God damn, Z, you said that, and we all know it's true. Maybe he would come home with a sister. Maybe. Once again, maybe. But let's be honest, if you're in certain environments and you're doing well and you're academically accomplished, yeah, your son is probably just going to come home with a white or Latina. and his mom could be black. You could be married to his black mom, be loving on her, but he's like, yeah, I'm not. Yeah, nope, nope, nope. And as I said in the previous video, if the ladies are telling us what they're not going to deal with because they saw certain things between their mother and their father and they just not going to deal with it, and they end up with a non-black man, you got to believe that there's brothers that also see how their mothers speak about their fathers, the relationship dynamic, and they're like, yeah, my dad took way too much, I'm not doing it. Right. So there's that also. With that, you everyone, will pause right here. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Y'all have a great, great rest of y'all day. Y'all go check out other Black Manosphere content, other non-Manosphere content, for the love of God. Um, and this is my critique on Dr. Jared Ball and Diallo Kenyatta and Geechee, and when they get into this conversation. Other than that, I'm a leftist. I agree with them on so much other stuff. You know, and let's be honest. If black women really meant egalitarianism, you gotta be honest. The black community is like the most egalitarian community in America. And what has that benefit black men? How has it benefited black men at all? In the least bit, right? If black women really meant it, that'd be a different conversation, but they don't really mean it. What they really mean, as Mr. Z said, is patriarchy by feminist specifications. Is it, excuse me, if it sounds weird, that's because it is, right? So there's that. Anyway, y'all have a great rest of y'all day. Mr. Z out.